Retired the General Chiwenga, though seemingly weakened, especially by those who are politically blind, but from things, retired General Chiwenga appears to be in control of the situation, and above all, he appears also to be ahead of Emerson Mnangagwa. Now, I've always said this, I don't speak with the military, with retired General Chiwenga, but I'm watching what is politically at play in Zimbabwe. He is seemingly ahead of the political game that Mnangagwa is playing, and Mnangagwa appears to be playing in the hands of retired General Chiwenga as well as the military, because to me, when you look at Chiwenga, you are looking at the military. Chiwenga still has connections with the military, and I strongly believe that the military would love to maintain its superiority politically within Zimbabwe. And it is the only institution, by the way, that can put an end to Emerson Mnangagwa. On this live broadcast, I'll be demonstrating how this institution and also strongly believing, which is backing retired General Chiwenga, seems to be ahead of Emerson Mnangagwa. Greetings and welcome to your lovely channel, the Hlonipani Global News. If you're watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the subscribe button so that next time when we beam live, you become the very first one to watch. If you listened to the actually call that was intercepted, now it takes someone who is in charge of government institutions, especially to possess devices that can intercept a foreign call and actually have the details. It appears from the look of things, Mnangagwa has been planning 2030 term extension, thinking that no one is aware of what he is doing. But from the look of things, if you listen to the audio that I played on the previous live broadcast, it has become clear that the military intelligence, as well as also retired General Chiwenga, there is high probability he is aware of each and every plans of Emerson Mnangagwa, and most probably the private calls of Mnangagwa. Now, today we get an audio where Professor Jonathan Moyo was laying out the plan, and we have seen this plan being reported previously of how actually bogus cases were going to be brought to the court, and also judges who would have actually been bought, how they were going to preside over the case, and the case, how it was going to actually give Emerson Mnangagwa an upper hand when he introduces bill number 3. It was initially of 2025, but it started surfacing in 2026. Everything, the military as well as retired General Chiwenga appears to be privy of everything. It was reported to us, and I know a lot of people were thinking, this is these are lies, these are speculations. But everything that was reported by Blessed Geza, and don't ever think Blessed Geza was actually communicating in isolation. Blessed Geza had definitely links with the military intelligence, and everything that he was speaking about Emerson Mnangagwa, it was real, it was factually correct, 100% correct, and every information that continues to come out, especially about the dealings of Mnangagwa and Professor Jonathan Moyo, appears to be actually on point. And I was alarmed to the fact that Professor Jonathan Moyo speaks so relaxed to Emerson Mnangagwa and all those who are around him. Listening to that call, it was like he's speaking to his children. No one was responding. I think they were all taking notes as he was actually speaking, unpacking how the plan should be. Already the plan of Mnangagwa has been thwarted. How it has been thwarted, look at this. Now, to the plan that Professor Jonathan Moyo speaks in that conversation, what was supposed to happen first is that these bogus constitutional court cases, they were supposed to be heard, and the judgment was supposed to be issued in favor of ZANU-PF. And look at, if you think that what the information that is being released at the moment is not true, look at what has happened and what is said on that particular audio. Part of the things that is said on that particular audio is that there was going to be a constitutional, and the organization is mentioned, and also the lawyers that were going to actually take petition the Constitutional Court. These are the same lawyers that have petitioned the Constitutional Court, Zulu, and the leader of Zulu, and Professor Jonathan Moyo telling them that you are supposed to use someone who will appear genuine to the people of Zimbabwe, and who will appear to be actually genuine in terms of arguing against 2030. And Professor Jonathan Moyo picking up Zulu and Mbuso Fuzwa. Now, without the information that was released initially by Hopewell Chinono, depicting how Zulu as well as Mbuso Fuzwa were linked to the well-orchestrated plan of Emerson Mnangagwa, working with Professor Jonathan Moyo, one would have thought that people were just speaking on Mbuso Fuzwa, but hearing that audio of Professor Jonathan Moyo actually detailing everything, and this has been thwarted because now they have introduced the bill. The Constitutional Court hearing hasn't actually started. In fact, Mbuso Fuzwa was granted the Zulu, as well as also this Gambakwe guy and so forth. Now it goes to also show us that there is high probability that these guys as individuals were targeted to actually take these matters to the Constitutional Court. The regime might have paid them good money. There is high probability that the regime might have paid them actually nice money. And also, we are told who is going to represent who was going to represent Mnangagwa. They were going to seek the legal counsel of Professor Lovemore, as well as also Uriri, Advocate Urili. Is known for representing ZANU-PF. He was going to be actually representing ZANU-PF, but already the deal has backfired. Because look at Professor Lovemore Matuku is saying no to 2030 term extension. In fact, he has actually joined war veterans in actually filing a case fighting against the 2030 term extension for Emerson Mnangagwa. So he has been playing in the gallery. They know they are privy, and mind you, the information that we might be having at the moment may not be conclusive. There is more sensitive information that they may be having, and they are aware even of the private journey of Ziambi going to seek actually counsel from Professor Jonathan Moyo. And look at how convenient that data was released. It was released when Ziambi was on his way. There was no turning point, and he arrived on the date that is actually appearing on that ticket, which is now playing out on the public gallery. So, that on its own shows you a well-coordinated intelligence. It cannot be the intelligence of the CIOs. It can be the intelligence of the military, and who is in the interest of stopping Emerson Mnangagwa from extending his term of office, who has actually stood on his way and told him that these constitutional mutilations that you are introducing, they are against what we fought for during the liberation struggle. We fought for one man, one vote, and this is what you want to take away. Who is standing on that? It is none other than retired General Chiwenga. And to think that he is taking on Emmerson Mnangagwa isolated, it will be misunderstanding of the current political system in Zimbabwe. And of course, the military is aware that Mnangagwa wants to neutralize it. They are well aware. And now, trying to knit the propaganda of Emmerson Mnangagwa. Remember yesterday, the information that I was sharing from the fake accounts that have been created by the faction of Emmerson Mnangagwa, and earmarking specifically the wife of retired General Chiwenga. They are thinking that it is the wife of retired General Chiwenga who is leaking the information. But I don't think so. I don't think this is all about the wife of retired General. Mnangagwa thinks by actually making, and you can tell also the way Professor Jonathan Moyo is giving these people political as well as legal counsel, that he has been involved in a broader strategy of these military reshuffles that we have seen taking place cautiously, actually being implemented by Emmerson Mnangagwa. I think also, Professor Jonathan Moyo is a political strategist. I've alarmed for a long time that it will be a serious miscalculation for Mnangagwa to trust that Professor Jonathan Moyo can give a genuine political and legal counsel on how to handle political matters. Remember, it is Mnangagwa who killed the father of Professor Jonathan Moyo. It is Mnangagwa who also actually betrayed Professor Jonathan Moyo during the Cholocho Declaration. It is Mnangagwa who caused Professor Jonathan Moyo to be in exile as we are speaking at the moment. And I wonder, is it desperation to try and actually destroy the military and to try and actually be powerful from Emmerson Mnangagwa to trust an individual like Professor Jonathan Moyo? Now, if Mnangagwa succeeds, Professor Jonathan Moyo would have actually revenged in some way. If Mnangagwa loses, equally so, Professor Jonathan Moyo would have actually have won. I think he is actually fighting a game where he will actually celebrate at the same time also looking forward on how to actually defeat the other person. Who are the enemies of Professor Jonathan Moyo? It is both Mnangagwa and Chiwenga because of what Chiwenga did in 2017. So if Mnangagwa overcomes Chiwenga, Professor Jonathan Moyo, to him it will be a win. He doesn't care about the people of Zimbabwe. Most probably this is actually a post-traumatic stress on the part of Professor Jonathan. I think you have seen him breaking down when he was actually arguing with Dr. Mabe Nzenge. It shows that he's a human being. He has also feelings. Of course, he's giving that impression that is strong. I mean, a professor, I know it all when it comes to politics, but also politics have made him to eat humble pies. In some instances, no one actually is the goddess of everything. At some point, I mean, we've got feelings, we've got emotions, we encounter political setbacks. But anyway, back to the story. Now, in my view, Chiwenga appears to be well, and the military appears to be well up to date about day-to-day programs of Mnangagwa. Now, if you were following Blessed Geza and analyzing the information that he was releasing, as much as they were distancing it, they ended up realizing that no, but this person has information that is private from the government departments. How do they obtain this particular information? They ended up having those questions because they realized that what Blessed Geza was speaking. In fact, that is why Emmerson Mnangagwa ended up actually delaying. If you look at the plans that were stipulated by Professor Jonathan Moyo in the audio that I previously played, I don't have to repeat it because there is a live broadcast that I did actually playing that whole audio. Now, if you take a closer look at that audio preempts things that have been done. And Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa, Professor Jonathan Moyo warning also Mnangagwa about the consequences and the repercussions, especially if things are actually done the other way around. So I'm saying Chiwenga appears to be ahead because he has successfully countered Mnangagwa. The Constitutional Court case was not heard before the bill was introduced as per plan. Also, media remains unthwarted about what is going on. In fact, it has put us in the picture, both social media and mainstream media. You see, you must never underestimate the role of social media. It is playing a very pivotal role in terms of shaping the political terrain in Zimbabwe at the moment. And it is actually giving ZANU-PF the hardest time ever. Mnangagwa with the Barakashi machinery, they find themselves defeated over and over because Zimbabweans are outnumbering the regime at the moment. Of course, also Zimbabweans have been, this is a political game that is at play at the moment. Of course, losing Blessed Geza, it was a very painful moment. But as Blessed Geza indicated that he will fight from the grave, he appears to be also fighting from the grave. Ziambi is running left, right, and center, back and forth to Kenya, being exposed. I'm telling you, that is also taking toll on the faction of Mnangagwa because they get to ask themselves, who is actually releasing this information? They don't know, they are ignorant in terms of all these details, and also looking at the fake social media accounts that they have created, now claiming that Chinese companies might be actually paying some parallel military structures to get rid of Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa. Whether there is substance in that, it remains actually to be seen. But the fact that they are raising these issues shows that they are seriously under pressure. I think I have shared everything I needed to share at the moment. Thank you very much for watching us. If you're watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the red or black subscribe button so that next time when we beam live, you become the very first one to watch us. You can financially support this channel by pressing the join button and be part of our members who are the heartbeat of this channel. You can equally do so by pressing the thanks button and send us stars. Okay, is signing off. Let's meet on the other side of the live broadcast.